Welcome everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our free ergonomics spine and posture workshop. Part of this workshop today is in response to a lot of feedback we've got from a lot of our clients about over the last few weeks due to this COVID-19 crisis and everyone having to work from home. We've had actually quite a few patients, our older patients who will reactivate and come back in as they've been working from home. So as you know, working from home, you're working in a different environment, especially the ergonomic environment that you're working compared to when you're at work. So different chairs, different setup and everything like that. And a lot of people's bodies have been responding differently. And a lot of aches and pains. So a lot of people have been coming in to get that rectified. And we've had a lot of questions regarding why is this happening and what's going on. And we thought we'd help the community out and organize this free workshop for everyone. So I'm going to be telling you a little bit of information about what you should do to help have a good setup at home when working from home, and what the good ergonomics are when you're doing a setup. Also, we'll be talking about a few things like our posture, and some of you already that I've seen before, I would have explained to you a little bit about that posture, and why it's important to have your posture. So we'll go over that a little bit more and give you a few examples and a couple of exercises. Some of you actually might already be doing if you've seen me before, and then we'll go from there. I'll finish off with some questions as well at the end if anyone has any questions. So one of the things that we see, most people when they work at home, they won't be sitting in that normal chair. A chair similar to, maybe you're going to be able to see, it's very similar to this one here. And it's basically a chair that will help you sit up and provide nice support down through your lower back, and also will help you, instead of being really slouched, bring yourself up tall, and also will be able to keep the right height adjustable so you can actually get into a really good setup for yourself, which feels comfortable but also is keeping you upright how you should be. So one of the things that we see is when people are slouched, and when people are slouching for a long period of time, it leads to overexertion or fatiguing of certain muscles around the neck, upper back, and then which then slowly leads down towards mid back and lower back as well. So people will come in and say, "Oh, I've started having pain in my neck," and then after a while, my pain's gone to my upper back, and then after a while, it's gone down towards my lower back. So the body is really adaptable, and after a while, when something's failing, part of the movement chain is failing, another part will take over for a bit until it also gets to the failing stage or fatigue stage where it can't handle it anymore, which then another part takes over. So that's why it sometimes can spread down the spine. One of the things that or one of the reasons that happens is it's because of a certain stress. Now, when I say stress, most people think about emotional stress. So emotional stress, which is worried about your loved ones, home, finances, mortgage, all of that. If you had arguments or anything like that with anyone. So all of these type of things, which is emotional stress, which we basically worry and have anxiety about. And which unfortunately, if it's there for a long period of time, can lead to mental problems as well, or mental health issues. But most people don't know about other stresses that our bodies go through. So when I usually ask people when they come in, do you have any stress? And they'll always mention these things. And then I ask them, do you know that there's other types of stress? And I ask them, and most of them will go no. And the other type of stresses are physical stress and biochemical stress, together with the emotional. So there's three types of stresses that our body will endure or go through, or that is based on our bodies. So most people know a little bit about, obviously, how to deal with that emotional stress, which there's a lot of help that you can get, and there's websites beyond Blue and all of that. You can talk to someone, that's one of the best ways, and all of that like that. But physical stress and biochemical stress. Biochemical stress is what we intake in terms of diet, in terms of also medications, in terms of potentially any radiations and so on like that. So you can do a little bit about improving those as well, which is like making sure that you eat healthy foods, hydrating all the time. When you go to sleep, try not to use your phone or be exposed to too much TV or radiation for the blue light. And then there's also the physical stress, which we'll be mainly concentrating on today. So the physical stress is obviously things like posture is one of the big ones, because every day we'll have a certain habit of what kind of posture we're in. But other things are like when you're lifting things, when you're doing things physically, going to the gym, walking, certain traumas and so on, which over time, as the stress and strain build up, because stress is accumulative, what starts to happen is we get to the point where it's a breaking point and things will break down. So if you've been on your phone, for example, these days we see a lot of kids involved with actually neck problems, because a lot of the time over the last few years, everyone's using their phones and iPads. So it's not just reading computers, but it's also phones and iPads, and they're always looking down. And you'll see a lot of people, even if you travel on public transport, you'll see them, everyone's with their phones, and they'll be holding their neck and going like this because they're starting to feel that strain. And it's that repetitive strain over time that causes things to get damaged and then you start to get the pain. So especially posture, so when working from home. If your setup's not correct, it will definitely lead to down the track, you having certain neck problems, as I said, back problems, and so on. So one of the main things that we need to do when we set up is we need to make sure that the screen, we used to be told, as most people might be aware, we used to be told, screen should be eye level. What I usually say is, I go a step further, that's textbook, screen should be eye level, but I say, because that means you still slightly look down. I say screen should be actually, your eye should be in the middle of the screen. So you look, because you usually look around in the middle of the screen, not at the top of the screen. So when you put that in there, that means your head and your ears are going to be not doing this, but you'll be nice and upright, and you'll be straight at the screen, and your ears should be above your shoulders, so you don't put too much strain on your neck and your upper back. So as soon as your head starts to do this, and you start to go down like that, what starts to happen is the weight of the head, which on average for most people is about 5 kilos. Every degree and every the head goes down, or every centimeter moves forward, it starts to, the load and the weight on the neck and further down starts to increase. So every degree can actually double. So the principle that I use, or the way I try to explain it to people why that happens, is if you think about holding a weight. If you hold the weight closer to yourself, which is the center line of gravity, compared to if you hold it further out, what's going to happen is that further out, it's going to actually feel heavier. It's not because the weight's heavier, but it's because it's moving further away from the center line of gravity. And based on physics, that means it's a lot heavier, same as your head. If you hold it for a while, you'll notice how everything starts to get tight. Same thing applies to your neck muscles and stuff, and upper back muscles, because as your head goes forward, the weight starts to double. So sometimes a few degrees forward, and so this here to this here can be quite a few kilograms difference. So, for example, if you're here and that's 5 kilos, it's about 5 kilos, and your body's used to it, that's a neutral position for the spine as well. The spine is designed to be able to actually endure that. But as you start to go forward, you take the spine out of the neutral position, there's more pressure on the muscles, after the muscles fatigue, all that load will be actually just held up by the spine and the ligaments, and after a while, when that starts to fail, that's when you start to get really bad pain, and then further down the track, things like spinal degeneration or degenerative disc disease, or strains in the muscles and strains in the ligaments and so on. And the weight that it can be from 5 kilos to, let's say, use a couple of degrees forward, that's 10, and then a couple of degrees more forward, that's actually 20, and then a couple more degrees forward, that can be about 40 kilos sometimes people can have. And we use one of these apps on to actually be able to calculate that. The second thing is, the screen should be like that. Now, the distance from our workstation, what we should do is, a lot of people sort of, their desk is here and they sort of sit back, further back away. And then that means they're holding their arms up instead of resting on the actual desk, or on their, if they've got a chair that's got armrests like that. When you're doing that like that, or when you're stretching that, that's also, if you know, it's activating these muscles, the traps, and that's overloading them over time. So what you need to do, you always need to make sure you're coming right close to the desk. So the desk is basically nearly maybe 5 centimeters away from the tummy, and then you rest your arms, and so that your chair height should be a decent height. So where you can actually rest your arms down, where you're still sitting up, rest your basically around here, elbows onto the desk, and your keyboard should be as far away back so you can actually touch like that. Then when you're doing that, there's a lot less load. You're not actually loading your upper traps and upper back and so on. Okay, so and then with that in place and the screen in a certain position, it's a lot more comfortable, and you can work a lot longer without having these type of issues starting to occur. You will still have a little bit of, obviously, whenever you do anything, you still have a little bit of strain, but it will be a lot less. And over time makes a big difference. And it's a difference to the point where you won't have potentially these type of problems. A lot of people that unfortunately have done this for such a long time, so they're already starting to experience these type of problems. But that's why people have had those problems. So, the last thing that I'll mention is, when you're sitting down, your chair hopefully should have something where it supports your lower back. So your lower back is in this position, like that, which is the neutral part, which is the lumbar spine neutral part, rather than being straight or flexed forward like that. So the chair should have that support. If not, you can use something like a roll-up towel, or get a pillow and put it under there, just so it can help keep you upright. When that's also upright, automatically your core muscles engage. When they engage, they help support the spine, and so then you have a lot less pressure on the spine. And when the muscles are engaged, it's a lot better also for the muscles, because they're over time get stronger and less fatigued, and then you'll have less discomfort as when you're sitting for a long period of time. So that's the basic setup for a workstation. One good practice that everyone should try and do is, every half an hour it's advisable to try and stand up, just to allow your muscles, even if it's for 5-10 seconds literally, or even a minute, a couple of minutes. It's just so we can allow the muscles and everything to relax for a second, so to reduce that fatigue build-up as well. Muscles relax, you get a good blood flow through the muscles, and then you can start again. Also reset your focus as well. So if at uni when you study, you probably had a lot of lectures who told you, focus reset every 30 minutes, and the best way to study and do things, even just for the mind, is in 30-minute blocks. So when you do that all the time, you'll actually get through things a lot quicker and a lot faster in a way, and in a lot better quality. So you get your things done in a lot better quality as well. So every half an hour, try and stand up, go for a quick walk or just a quick stretch, and get into that good habit. Okay, and then when you do that, when you come back, you'll notice throughout the day you'll have a lot less of those tensions, discomforts, and pains as well. So what I want to do now is I want to do some exercises that I give to people most of the time. Very, very easy exercise. You can do in your chair, you can do sitting, but people need to try and get into a habit of doing this. Now, it's very hard to change habits, just like it's going to be really hard to change your posture. So from today, from what I've talked about, you're going to definitely go back, oh yeah, I'll do it, and then within a few days, some of you might not be doing it as much, and because you'll forget about it. But if you draw up, if you really make it your number one thing to do, is say, okay, I'm going to go out and do couple of these things. The best thing to do is to look at your habit, how you always sit and what you do, and just try and change one thing about it in terms of sitting, but even leave up a note, write up a note, or give yourself, especially like these exercises they give you, and you put it in your diary, for example, or give yourself reminders to do it at a regular interval, like every half an hour. That's going to be a long way in helping you change some of those habits. And as you do that, you'll notice those big differences. So one of the most common ones is called shoulder retractions, and again, some of my patients that I've seen before, especially if they work a lot sitting down, or they had neck and upper back problems, I would have given this one too, because it's a low barrier exercise, which means you can do it anywhere. You don't need any equipment. So technically, the way it's done, you sit. As you sit, what we want to do is our shoulders and our shoulder blades, we want to make sure that we bring them back and down. So see, notice I didn't do back and up like that, or roll them around, because that's putting a bit more strain on your neck. So the way we do it is we go back and down, chest out, and see, if I leave my head like that, slightly forward. So what I always tell people as well to do is slightly look up just a little bit, because what it does, it helps train you to actually slightly keep your head in a neutral position. When I'm doing this is the neutral position for the head. We hold that, we hold for 2 seconds, and then we relax. 2 to 3 seconds, and then you relax, and then you repeat that a few times. So 1, 2, and relax. 1, 2, and relax. And sometimes you can even, what you can do is you can breathe in. So what you do is bring that back, chest out, look up, and then and relax. That also helps the muscles relax, because when you breathe in and out nice and slowly like that, what happens is emotionally you also start to relax, but also it helps breathing in and out, helps the muscles relax a bit more as well. So what people should do is with that exercise, you should try and do it about 3 to 5 repetitions per set to start off with, try to do a bit more, and then try and do it basically about 5 times a day throughout the day, and then go from there. Another exercise which you might have heard about as well is called the chin tuck exercise. It's done like this. So it's to help retrain the deep neck flexors and the suboccipital muscles to hold your head back. So your head's not always like this. So when these muscles are engaged, it's going to hold this up, and it's going to be a lot easier for the head to be in the right position like that. Okay. So the way we do that is you can use your finger as a reference or not. And I do that usually. Use my finger, put it on the chin so I know where my head's been at. And then what I go is I bring it back, hold, and then come back. So basically like this. That's around do it. Hold and back. Now make sure your head doesn't go up or look like this. Try and keep your head nice and straight. Then hold back and forward. Now, this is a really good exercise, but it can sometimes, especially if you have a lot of tightness in your neck, because it's stretching the back muscles, so your head does this, it can start giving you a bit of aches and pains, extra aches and pains just initially until the muscles get used to it and until you train the muscles. But afterwards, it's a really good exercise to help keep everything up. Now, also as you work, most people, when they're working and always doing things which is engaging these front muscles at the front, like the pecs. That pec tightness is one of the biggest problems that causes our shoulders to go forward, and also over time can cause problems with the shoulders and pain with the shoulders. But what we want to do to try and minimize that is try and stretch those out. So there are a few stretches that you can do. One of them is if you have a doorway or anything like that, there's 2 stretches, so there's 2 muscles. There's the pec minor and pec major, the big muscle. So one of them is you hold back, 45-degree angle like that. You pull back and you rotate, doing that nice stretch through there. So you hold the doorway, you grab onto the doorway, and then as you do, you push forward, and you'll feel that nice stretch there. Now, then you can do the second one where it's like this, hold, and stretch backwards like that, and you do that on both sides. So that's something else that you can do every day. Try and do about 3 times a day to stretch those pec muscles, which will also help improve that posture like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer a few questions. So, Cass asked me, what if you don't have an adjustable chair? If you're working from home and unfortunately you don't have an adjustable chair, it is going to make things a lot obviously more difficult to set everything up. But I would then suggest using one of your dining chairs and sitting on the dining table. So avoid the lounge, avoid armchairs or anywhere that you can slouch and it's too soft. Use your dining table and make sure you still use the pillows behind your lower back or a roll towel, and also sitting as close as possible. And then making sure that if you're using a laptop, whatever you're using, raise it, and potentially then if you can get a keyboard or you can touch a wireless keyboard that you can have working with your laptop, use that to try and be in the best possible position. Ultimately, would be the best to try and invest. If you're going to be working a lot from home, would be the best to invest in one of the chairs if you can. Or if you can't, a lot of people have actually ended up getting chairs from their work and taking home for the period, because potentially we might be working there for another month or two. Now, Cass also, so Cass basically said, you mentioned about shoulder and neck exercises. Are there any good ones that you can recommend for lower back while sitting at your computer? I currently use lumbar support, but when I stand, my lower back feels really mechanic. Yeah. So one of the good things that I'll show people how to do is this. So you place, like you're going to sit like this, place your ankle over your knee, okay? Making sure that your knee, this knee, the resting ankle and the knee is 90 degrees and it's going straight forward. So it doesn't go in like this or too far out like that. So you place it like that, keep it going straight. Place, because you're going to be stretching this right glute foot, which then helps with the lower back side and that side. You place your hand underneath here. The other one comes over the top. And then what you do is you're slightly bend forward, bring this knee towards your chest, up this way, like that. And then you extend backwards, like that, so away from the knee. Once you've brought the knee, you bend forward and brought the knee towards your chest. You hold it there in that position really strongly, and you extend backwards, and you'll feel a big stretch through the glute and down towards that, which relieves a lot of that back pressure that builds up through there. So you can do it also on the other side, but you've got to make sure again that your knee is 90 degrees, the resting knee, and the ankle and the heel of that actual foot, resting foot, is on the ground. So don't put a lot of people bring up the heel and put on their toes, you won't feel that same stretch, not as much. So you've got to keep your foot on the ground, the full foot on the ground, the knees 90 degrees, and this basically, this resting knee should be straight so it doesn't go down in, because then also reduces the amount of stretch. So what you do, like that, set up, place there, this, lean forward a bit, bring the knee towards your chest as far as you can go, and then extend backwards. And as you extend, you'll feel that big stretch through the glute, and which will release the pressure on your lower back. And that also, all of this, you have to do them ongoingly. You can't do it just once or twice, but you've got to do it ongoingly, and then you're going to get the best results. So it's all basically about having, developing these good habits. Okay?
Hi, Mitch. I have a question for you, Charles here.
Oh, yep. Let's have a look. Hey, Charles, how you going?
I'm all right, man. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Again, I know. How's everything going?
Pretty good, I think. I have, well, without even knowing, actually, tried to implement some of these suggestions that you've given so far. So I have an office chair here at home that I work with, but I think it's a bit too low for the height of my desk, so I've just been propping it up to make it work. But I find that the armrest of my chair, for example, is still lower than my desk, and I find that after a day of work, and especially from using the mouse, I have a terrible pain going from all the way here up to my elbow sometimes.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if you might have any suggestions as to how I might avoid that happening, because it really hurts and it sucks.
Sure. Yeah. Can I get you to please show me how you, like, because I can see a bit of your setup at the moment. Like, can you show me exactly how you will be typing when you're working?
All right. So I generally my keyboard's here. I try to be as far away from it to extend my arms as much as possible, but that doesn't always happen. So I do end up bending my elbows here sometimes, and with using the mouse as well, I end up having to do that sometimes.
Okay.
So it's like this kind of right angle going on,
Sure.
and I think that might have something to do with it.
Okay. Sometimes if it's hurting, if you get the shooting pain, two things. If it's coming from the top part of the elbow, like that part there, that's actually called one of the repetitive strain injuries, because it's like a tennis elbow injury. That's because when you're typing, unfortunately, you're using your mouse, you're using this muscle, which is called the extensor muscle, the wrist extensor muscle. So when I extend the wrist out, you can feel it activating there. So sometimes that there can actually hurt because you've done so much typing or using that finger all the time with the mouse. And it is a very common problem if it's at the top. If it's at the bottom, it can be, there's a nerve here, and it can be that you actually potentially, when you're resting down, either the armrest is too hard, or that you on the edge of the desk or table, like that, where it's actually digging right in there. So always try and make sure that your hands are pretty flat down, like so your forearm's pretty flat on there, rather than just resting for that part. But if it's the top, one of the things you should consider doing, if you can, if it's there for a long period of time, is I don't know, it's going to be very hard, but can you change your mouse to try and make it left-handed, to just give this side a rest? Okay. So this is this is a repetitive strain injury, which unfortunately a lot of people do get, especially if you're using it a lot for many hours, and that is just because it's been overused. So other things that you can do is ice every day. So ice that region every day, massage it out all the time, do stretches like this, so basically like this, and the other way as well, to make sure that one should be done every 20-30 minutes, just to release a lot of the pressure and any lactic acid and so on. And then basically, if that doesn't help, sometimes if that doesn't help, unfortunately, you might need to get some treatment, like where you get a dry needling done, massage, or anything like that. But if you try these, and these should usually help. They usually help, especially if you do them routinely. All these stretches, having a quick rest, if you change the mouse around, they usually do help. If it doesn't, then it might be a bit long gone, so you might need to get some treatment done. But try that first, see how that goes for at least a month, but do it regularly. Don't forget to do it, but do it regularly, and it should really help.
It seems that they're more it seems to me that there are more solutions for the issue if you're having it on the top, but mine is actually on the bottom, like you pointed out.
Okay, so your one is at the bottom. So if it's at the bottom, one thing is that you can also do, if is this the desk that you use all the time?
Yep.
Yes? Okay, so sometimes you can get from Officeworks or some of those where you put one of those gel sort of on the edge of the desk. It's like a long strip of gel where you put just for these type of things where you can place on there. So it's not a hard surface sticking into the actual forearm there. Okay, and that really, really helps. So Officeworks has a lot of those.
Okay.
I
think I should definitely get one of those things.
Okay. All right. So one more. I can do one. I have time for one more question because we're running out of time at the moment. Thank you, Charles. Thank you for bringing that question up. Nice to see you again. If you ever need anything, please email me as well. Okay?
Certainly.
No worries. Okay, guys. Unfortunately, we are coming to the end. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be trying to look doing these more often for everyone. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can leave them down here. Further questions, and I'll try and send you an email if you leave your email details there. Thank you guys very much. Look after yourselves. It's been a pleasure to help you out. I will see you next time, and enjoy yourselves. Bye.